A major new legal battle is putting the Wallace family back in the spotlight. Notorious B.I.G.'s son, Christopher Wallace Jr., is challenging a last-minute change to his grandmother Voletta Wallace's will, and he claims the amendment was made just 15 days before her death. Now, he wants a judge to throw that amendment out. But what exactly changed? And why does Christopher believe something about the document needs to be investigated? Here's what we know. Voletta Wallace, the mother of legendary rapper the Notorious B.I.G., died in February 2025. According to court documents obtained by TMZ, she was survived by her grandson Christopher Wallace Jr. and her granddaughter. But the dispute now centers on two different versions of Voletta's will. Christopher says his grandmother had previously executed a will in 2020. That document reportedly distributed a number of her personal possessions, including jewelry, fur, Biggie-related music awards, a Mercedes-Benz SUV, property in Jamaica, and other assets. According to Christopher, most of those items were intended for him and his sister. But then, shortly before Voletta's death, everything allegedly changed. Christopher claims that just 15 days before his grandmother died, she signed an amendment to the will, and according to his court filing, that amendment dramatically changed who would control her estate. Christopher says the amendment removed him and his sister from receiving certain interests. It also reportedly appointed Wayne Barrow, a former manager of Biggie, as executor of Voletta's estate. That decision is now at the center of the legal fight. Christopher isn't simply asking questions about the distribution of the estate. He is asking the court to declare the amendment invalid and to remove Wayne Barrow as executor. Christopher's court filing raises concerns about Voletta's condition during the final period of her life. He claims she was experiencing declining health, was taking numerous medications, and was frequently confined to bed. He also claims that the signatures appearing on the amendment look noticeably different from Voletta's signatures on other documents. Christopher described the signatures as appearing facially inconsistent and says they deserve further examination, potentially by an expert. But there is an important distinction here. These are Christopher Wallace Jr.'s allegations in court documents. They have not been established as facts by a judge. The legal process will determine whether the amendment is valid. The dispute is especially significant because Voletta Wallace had a direct connection to her son's estate. After Biggie was killed in 1997, Voletta acquired a 50% interest in the company connected to managing his estate. She managed that interest alongside Biggie's widow, Faith Evans, until Voletta's death. So this isn't simply a disagreement over personal belongings. The legal dispute could also affect control surrounding Voletta's interest connected to Biggie's estate. And that's where the story gets even more complicated. Wayne Barrow is not a random name in this story. He previously worked as a manager for the Notorious B.I.G., and according to TMZ, Barrow recently won a separate legal battle involving Faith Evans. A judge reportedly ruled that Faith had to provide Barrow access to profits from Voletta's portion of the Biggie Trust. Christopher's latest court action appears to challenge the authority that Barrow would receive under the disputed amendment. In other words, this new filing could potentially complicate an already existing legal battle surrounding Biggie's estate. And now, the biggest question is simple. Why was the will changed so close to Voletta Wallace's death? Christopher believes the circumstances deserve further scrutiny, but until the court examines the evidence, there are still unanswered questions surrounding what happened and why the amendment was made. For now, the judge will have to determine whether the amendment was legally valid and whether Wayne Barrow would remain executor. The Wallace family's connection to one of hip-hop's most iconic legacies has already been the subject of decades of attention. Now, a disputed last-minute change to Voletta Wallace's will has opened another chapter. Christopher Wallace Jr. is asking the court to invalidate the amendment and remove Wayne Barrow from control of the estate. Whether the judge agrees could have major consequences for the Wallace family and the assets connected to Biggie's legacy. And this story is far from over. What do you think? Should the disputed amendment receive an expert examination? Stay tuned for updates as the legal battle develops.